'Twas 2 weeks till Christmas, and all on the net. YouTube critics like myself were looking for holiday films they hadn't reviewed yet. Setting out to my local film, I looked for something that was filled with jolly. This isn't the time of year to watch things that are melancholy. What I stumbled upon weren't the most traditional holiday films. We've got one that's a twisted take on a Christmas classic, and one that gives Santa a chance to kick some asses. And if you would like to know my views, check out my first ever double review. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today I'm going to be doing my first double review ever, this time talking about The Mean One and Violent Night. Before we get started, you know what to do. Go ahead and scroll down, subscribe, make sure you ring the bell so you never miss any of my content. You can also find the links to my TikTok and my Instagram in the description below. Now let's get into it. Okay, so the first movie we're going to talk about today is The Mean One. And let me tell you, I was so excited for this film when I first saw just one picture of it. This guy right here. That is David Howard Thornton, and you would probably know him if you've heard of Terrifier, because that is the same man that plays Art the Clown. Now, literally just knowing that it was a twisted take on The Grinch, a parody of course, you will never hear the word The Grinch said once in that film. Kind of use some legal loopholes with parody to make sure they don't get in trouble for this, because this is not a film licensed by Universal.
Seducing. He's a mean one, that mister.
But that being said, knowing that David Howard Thornton was in it, playing the Grinch in some pretty good makeup, to be honest, I was looking forward to it. I was thinking, oh my god, this is going to be like the Grinch version of Terrifier. I can't wait to see this complete splatterfest. Oh man, was I wrong about that. This movie looks like it was made for $10 and it feels like it through the entire thing. This is the longest hour and a half I've seen in a long time. You know the basics of the story. They change it around a little bit because of parody. So this one's about Cindy you-know-who wakes up one night to find not the Grinch, the mean one, stealing Christmas, and when she goes to confront him, he ends up killing her mom. 20 years later, she goes back to that same town. It's kind of like Footloose for Christmas at this point. Because of the Christmas killer, they're not allowed to celebrate any Christmas stuff there, because whenever somebody puts up some lights, puts on a hat, sings a Christmas tune, the mean one shows up to take care of business. She goes back to town with her dad, who is not around very long because her dad is obsessed with Christmas, and once he starts putting up those decorations, the mean one comes back. And this movie turns into kind of a quick holiday slasher, and Cindy you-know-who decides to take revenge. There's some poorly written romance between her and some Jewish cop, and don't get upset with me for saying that he's Jewish, because they make that a huge recurring joke in the film, and honestly it gets a little anti-Semitic here and there, but that's besides the point. The main point is that this movie is fucking terrible. Everybody in here is a community theater actor except for David Howard Thornton, but even then they don't give him enough screen time whatsoever. He's in the movie maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And he gets to do his creepy thing. He gets to do a fun, creepy little play on Jim Carrey's The Grinch with the way he moves and slunks around, as they said in that movie.
Then he slunk to the icebox. Slunk?
But then he starts killing. And if you expected something like what from Terrifier and Terrifier 2 with those amazing practical effects and nasty, visceral gore that they come up with, you're going to be severely disappointed. See what I just did there? That terrible CGI PS1 looking blood splatter, that is all of the blood in this film. 99% of the action takes place off screen, with the Grinch maybe swinging something and hitting somebody off screen, with a horrible YouTube quality, like they chroma keyed the green screen out and threw a terrible PS1 graphic in there for the blood. Oh my god, I felt like I was watching a student film. David Howard Thornton makes it a little enjoyable, but for the most part, there is nothing redeemable in this film. The writing is terrible. David Howard Thornton's barely in it. The effects, the blood, it's all just cheap. Oh, and I almost forgot to say while I was doing my review, this thing was also clearly shot, I'm not sure where it was shot, but it was shot in the middle of the summer. And all they did was add a little fake snow here and there and some digital snow effects when they do any like establishing shots, and it's very obvious that it's not winter. And I know it's an independent movie or whatever, but Terrifier and Terrifier 2 were independent movies, and they were just leagues above this one. If anything, this movie just makes me appreciate those two movies even more. As bad as the acting was in the last Terrifier, it doesn't even come anywhere close to this film.
I'm not gonna be a victim anymore. Time to roast this beast.
So yeah, if you're going into The Mean One excited to see a twisted take on a childhood classic, you will probably be pretty disappointed. And David Howard Thornton, he's creepy and he gives a great performance like everything else that he does, but it's just not enough for this like student film level production here, and I cannot believe that this was put out in theaters. So yeah, I definitely do not recommend this one. Once it comes out online and streaming, I know they said it was going to be free at some point, maybe skim through, look at The Grinch. I don't know, maybe if you want to get drunk with your friends and just laugh at it, it might be good for that. but even then it's not necessarily a so bad it's good movie. It's mostly just boring and kind of embarrassing. Alright, so that's my review of The Mean One. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the real fun movie I'm excited to talk about today, Violent Night. I was sold on this fucking movie ever since I saw the trailer. One thing I did not have on my bingo card this year was a killer Santa in a die-hard situation killing mercenaries. Awesome. This movie does not take itself seriously at all, and it's for the best. I mean, when people are throwing out lines like Christmas Dies Tonight and
time for some season's beatings,
you know what you're into. This movie stars David Harbour as, well, who else? Santa Claus. He's kind of disillusioned. They don't really make this like a super big plot point, but you can tell in the beginning when he's getting shit-faced at a bar and complaining about how kids only want video games and cash and stuff nowadays, that he's pretty disillusioned from his job. But that all changes when he delivers presents to the Lightfoot compound, a compound filled with a disgustingly rich family, with the matriarch actually played by Helen Griswold herself, Beverly D'Angelo, in one of the bitchiest performances I've ever seen from her that works so well. In this home also houses the main characters here. I am so sorry that I don't know their names. I don't have anything in front of me right now, but he's just a guy that hates Christmas and wants to steal from this family because of it, and I love it. He's so cartoonish, but not in a goofy way. So anyway, Santa's in there while everybody gets taken hostage. He ends up fighting a mercenary and talking to Trudy, and a lot of the heart comes in between their relationship.
Are you gonna help us, Santa?
yeah, true.
He becomes the savior, basically becoming the John McClane of this situation to go take out all these mercenaries. And oh my god, is the movie so much fun for that. It's brutal, trust me. They don't call it Violent Night for no reason. If you're pretty squeamish, I don't know if I would check this out. It's fun and it's funny, but some of the violence goes a little hard. I loved it, but for someone that's a little more squeamish, it might be a little too much when you're talking about decapitations and nails through the face and faces getting set on fire and people getting whacked in the head with sledgehammers. It's a lot, but it's fun. And that's because the movie never takes itself seriously, like I said before. It's got a very light tone throughout. And honestly, they treat the film like a Christmas movie. It's kind of like Die Hard meets Home Alone, with that kind of whimsical, Christmassy tone that Home Alone has, with a lot of the heart that you would find in a movie like that, while also pushing the insane, crazy action that you might find in something like Die Hard that's got a bit of a realistic slant to it, while also allowing Santa to just be a total badass with a really compelling backstory. And when it comes down to it and he's ready to just save the day, like I said before, it gets brutal. And the movie just overall really works. Santa's relationship with Trudy when they talk back and forth on the walkie-talkie actually adds a ton of heart into this film. The score is actually really great too. The score basically plays like a straight Christmas score throughout the whole thing. It's light, it's whimsical, and when you pair that with the insane balls to the wall action scenes in here and the violence and gore that comes in some parts of this film, it really just makes the whole thing a visual and audio treat. Having David Harbour be an incredibly charming and badass Santa definitely helps too, and John Leguizamo's villain is just him playing Mr. Scrooge. I really think we're in a John Leguizamo renaissance right now between his role in The Menu and his role here. He's just fantastic. The movie's not perfect though, and anytime that we only flash to the family drama with all of the Lightfoot, I don't remember their last name, but whenever we flash to that family drama, it gets a little boring and drags on just a little bit. But after a good 20-25 minutes of not much happening time of the movies, and a really great Christmas film. Yeah, it's bloody, it's violent, there's a lot of swearing, whatever, but it really has a big heart. And out of the two movies I saw for this review, that was definitely the one I prefer. And I recommend it to anybody that loves fun, violent action films, but also wants a fun Christmas movie too. It pulled off that balancing act. Though the movie's not perfect, and I could have done with a little less of the family drama, maybe just a little bit more backstory for the villain, but from what we got, I just loved it. And I want to see it again. It's not like a top 10 movie of the year or anything, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely going to go on my list of Christmas movies to rewatch every year.
I gotta watch.
So there you have it. Out of the two movies I saw in the last week that were Christmas related, The Mean One was an absolute piece of shit that I don't recommend to anybody unless you're just a little curious and want to scrub through it online. Violent Night, on the other hand, is a true treat and a special Christmas film, and I recommend it to anybody that enjoys action, Die Hard, Home Alone. Oh man, especially Home Alone. There is a scene in there that's basically Home Alone that's R-rated, and I loved every second of it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I've been Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions. I hope you enjoyed my first ever double review. Thanks for watching, and if you like this review, please go ahead and leave a like, comment, and let me know what you thought. If you saw either of these movies, let me know what you thought of the movies. You can also find the links to my Instagram and my TikTok in the description below. Or you can click or tap on these cards here. They'll take you to my review of the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, or just over to my channel where you can check out my reviews, my shorts, and my old shit. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will see you on the next one for my review of Avatar: The Way of Water.